And okay, so if you could introduce yourself first, and then the first question would be to tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to need some funding.
Okay, hi, my name is Jewel Prescott. I'm a single mother of one beautiful 2-year-old child. His name is London. And how I found out about this scholarship program, the scholarship funding was through the nurse family practitioner program. My nurse, Nurse Addie, was really adamant about like, no, you can't give up, but she's always been like that. She's like, just apply and, most likely you might get through. So, and that's what I did. And I was really appreciative that I got a quick response and that everything came to pass.
Okay, but why did you need the scholarship?
Well, originally I started right out of high school. I went to college. I went to Brooklyn College and City College of CUNY. And because of circumstances at the time, like I became homeless. I didn't have much to do in terms of working and being homeless and going to school. I had to drop out. And because of the W's and the W's, which are withdrawals and withdrawals unofficial, the government obviously want back their money. I'm so sorry if you hear my son. Yes. So the government, obviously, because I had Pell Grants, they issued money to be paid back on my account. So in order for me to go back to school, because I was like, no, I really have to finish my degree, not only for me, but for my son's sake, for him to say like, yo, like my mom actually is a civil engineer, or, she accomplished something and never gave up on it. I said, I need to pay back this amount. The amount at the time, it fluctuated in terms of, I guess they had interest. And sometimes I'll have the money and I'm like, all right, I have to pay for something. But then as a single mother, expenses occurred and I couldn't see my way. And I explained to my nurse, like, this is one thing that I really want to do. And she was like, well, I know of something that you could probably apply to and see if you could get, the funds taken care of. I was like, I feel really weird or like really uncomfortable asking anyone, even if it's a scholarship for whatever reason, for money, because I felt it was my fault originally. But I knew like certain things that was happening in my life I couldn't control. So I was like, you know what, let me just really try and give it a shot. And and I explained to her like what it is, and I sent her the bill from CUNY. She was like, yeah, apply. I mean, you're really good. Your penmanship is great. Just try. And that was the reason why I applied, because I really needed the money to just continue my educational goals. And I'm still on the journey, and I will be graduating really soon. As I said, 2022, early 2023.
That's wonderful. And tell everyone what else LaGuardia has asked you to do.
Well, currently, it's so funny. This morning, I got an email from LaGuardia, the student body actually having elections. So I was like, okay, they sent me this random email, because usually they send it to specific people. So they're having elections for the spring semester, and they asked me if I'm interested in being part of the student government for the school. So I was like, okay, maybe it's a hoax, because I'm not. I mean, everything is basically virtually, but I think students and teachers have a way to send out surveys based on like the student body and how your classmates respond to you. And even though it's virtual, we have like WhatsApp chats and we meet virtually sometimes. And a lot of people say that I'm really helpful in terms of like finding them resources, even though I'm not physically in school, like resources. I look online for things for students. I try my best to help them in terms of scholastic achievements, as well as the discouragements, because sometimes I get discouraged as well, but it's a team effort. So I think based on that, they was like, we got some feedback and we would love if you can participate in the student government. So I applied and I'm just waiting back to see if I'm going to be part of the student government for LaGuardia Community College. So yay.
Wonderful. And could you tell people why it was so important for you to pursue a college degree and what prevented you all, from starting even earlier than you did?
Well, I think for all, not just me, it's really important to educate yourself on a different level in terms of, yes, it's great to have a form of employment, but for me, I think if you further your education in terms of university studies, even certifications, it enhances you not only for or prepares you for life in terms of working for someone, but maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, or maybe you want to start teaching. I just really wanted to pursue my college degree for the sake of expanding my thoughts on different views of the world. I'm really interested in architecture and art history and construction. So I said, you know what? Instead of me just having this interest, let me turn the interest into something solid. And I said, the only way I could do that is to obtain this degree for myself. And I said it before, to be a really great role model for my son. So if he sees that, oh, she builds buildings, or she helps build a bridge or a waterworks, I said that'll be a great opportunity to do. And the reason why I think my things got pushed back a little bit and I couldn't do it when I wanted to do it was because, not even before I even have my son, it was just finding my way in the world. I just was like, oh, maybe I should try this job and that job. And nothing was really sticking with me in terms of satisfaction reasons. So I said, you know what, this is the time. I know this might be a difficult time that I do have a baby, because I was looking into it when I just had my son. I said, but no better time than the present. I can't keep putting this off. So I was like, I have to do it some way or the other. And it just so happened that I was in this program. And as again, Nurse Addie recommended me to do it. And I was like, it was the best decision ever. I mean, as much as it's a lot of ups and downs in terms of time management and, the pandemic, I make it work because it has to work and I have to succeed at all costs.
Great. Can you, this doesn't have to be included in the recording if you don't want to, or at a presentation, but what led to the homelessness and all of that?
I think at the time, my mom and I didn't see eye to eye, and it was more monetary issues because she just retired. So a lot of things was weighing heavily on her. And I think that she knew, well, I had a grant coming in from school, and she's like, why can't you help? And I'm like, school is not cheap. I need the grant to pay for books or, to transportation, or at the time, a lot of technology fees were taken out of it. So I was like, I don't work. I think I was doing work study, but I think it was more of, I wasn't putting enough weight for her. And she was like, you have to go. And I was like, well, where I'm gonna go? So I used to bounce around from place to place sometimes, because I was part of NBSSO, which is a society for engineers. I used to stay there as long as I could. Sometimes I'll just ride the train sometimes. And then eventually my cousin, Salima Samad, who is a really backbone of everything now. Well, even from before, she used to let me stay by her from time to time, but it was just really tough because to go to school and just bounce around from place to place or ride the trains at the time was a lot. And I just couldn't do it. And then I think I had 2 jobs at the time. I danced in a dance company, just to make ends meet, to say, well, maybe I could get a room to rent. But, people are kind of funny, and they're like, they ask kind of questions like, why are you homeless? You don't look homeless. But I was like, homelessness doesn't have a look. I mean, they just generally think that they see, people on the street and everyone has a story. So it was just a lot. And I just couldn't balance going to school at a certain time. If I wanted to make money just to buy food, I couldn't apply for, I guess at the time, food stamps because we had to have a proper address or, like living history. And I'm like young, I don't have much of a living history other than my mother. And I still had to rely on her to like, hey, can I use your information? And she would say no. So it was really tough. And then I just decided, I can't do it. And I ended up moving back to my mother's home country just a little bit to just get, like a break of the whole thing. And when I came back in 2017, because that was 2004 to 2017, I gained a lot of world experience, work experience. And I think that's when I came back and I was like, I'm ready now. Maybe I could, get on my feet. And she actually, waiting enough, allowed me to stay there for a little bit. I was on my feet, I saved money, and then I started living on my own. And I think that sense of independence here opened up her eyes and said, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't have done it. She never apologized, but now she sees that, that kind of helped me that journey, which was a bad journey, but it turned out to be a really great thing because now, I have my own place, I'm in school, I have my son, everything is like super stable. So I think the homelessness was a really hard time in my life. I was really depressed, but I really pushed through it and here I am today.